Hi, my name is Andrina Wekontash Smith, and I am a writer and storyteller. And please don't encourage this.
Broadcasting just steps away from the glistening Midwestern beauty of Miami University in the heart of Oxford, Ohio. You're listening to Don't Encourage This, a series of interviews and conversations with artists and interfaith voices on meaning-making and the creative process. I'm your host, Mark Von Bullock. I am a minister in the Presbyterian Church USA. This edition of the program is both an interfaith conversation and a discussion on how stories create meaning. My guest today is an Emmy-nominated writer, comedian, and storyteller. She serves as a writer on the hit comedy Deli Boys, which currently streams on Hulu. Andrina Wekontash Smith is the sole writer of the MetaQuest experience MLK Now is the Time, produced by Time Studios, commemorating the anniversary of Dr. Martin Luther King's famous March on Washington. It was the winner of the Audience Award at South by Southwest, AIXR Social Impact Award, multiple Webbies for public service and activism, and People's Voice Award. It was named Best in XR by Games for Change, and it was nominated for both an Emmy Award and a Producers Guild Award in 2024. Andrina grew up on the Shinnecock Reservation in the Hamptons in New York, and we were also classmates together at Emerson College during the early 2000s. During our conversation, Andrina offers very candid reflections on growing up as both Indigenous and also a woman of color against this very specific backdrop of the Hamptons. She also offers some very candid reflections on how she decided she wanted to get into comedy, and also on the power of stories, including her own. Andrina is a very funny comedian and a hilarious, engaging storyteller. However, one of the things that I have admired about her most is that she has enjoyed this mainstream success, but without ever losing sight of her sense of mission. Andrina's Shinnecock spirituality is a huge part of her identity. It informs her art as well as her sense of social activism. She shares some amazing stories, including how a TV producer who just happened to be jogging by the Shinnecock Reservation in the Hamptons helped launch her career. A story about working at a high-end sushi restaurant early in her career that left me speechless. And how some of the same producers who once thought that her Shinnecock religion was a little weird wound up coming back to her to develop a television show for ABC. Andrina is a dear, dear, dear friend of mine. She kept me laughing this entire episode, but she is also an amazing storyteller. Her story is not only funny, it is incredibly poignant. I think you're going to really enjoy this one. Let's hop on a Zoom call and chat with Andrina Wekontash Smith. You grew up on the Shinnecock Reservation in the Southampton area, is that right?
Yes, I did.
What was your growing up like? Would you mind sharing a little bit about that?
When I grew up, it was very much referred to as Southampton. This idea of the Hamptons is something that has happened in recent years where the idea of a location has transformed the location. With that being said, money has always been a very big part of the East End, and my family did not have much of it. My mom liked to say we were very spiritually wealthy. So I had this unique experience where my mother actually sent me to the local Catholic school. So I went to Our Lady of the Hamptons Regional Catholic School.
Was it really called Our Lady of the Hamptons?
It's called Our Lady of the Hamptons.
That's kind of awesome.
You haven't heard of the esteemed saint, Our Lady of the Hamptons? It was originally called Our Lady of Poland. And then when the head nun, who's still in charge, took over the school, she wanted to zhuzh it up and changed it to Our Lady of the Hamptons. I was one of 3 Native students. I identify both as Black and Native, and I was the only Black Native and probably the only Black representation in the school. It was this experience where I was constantly ostracized in a way that after school special 90s Catholic school anti-Blackness can sometimes impose. I like to say that it taught me structure, and it taught me the fundamentals, and it also taught God's wrath. And I learned very early on that I was uninterested in God's wrath.
Yeah.
And really wish they had have promoted Jesus's love. I think it's really easy to lean into the negativity when there is such a rigid structure. But I was really grateful for having Jesus as a role model when I was young, just because he was a cool guy. Like, he just did cool stuff.
That's true.
And from an early age, I was just like, this is a guy who he knows how to party. He knows how to hang. And he also cares about the people who are the lowest on the totem pole, you know?
Yeah, the marginalized.
Exactly. And the lowest on the totem pole is actually the strongest because it upholds everything else. And so that experience ended when I was 13 and got accepted to a school that was created because a local billionaire and his wife didn't like any of the schools around. So they created one for their daughter. So it started when Nicole was in 5th grade. And then every year that Nicole went up a year, the school would then add more people.
Oh, wow.
When I got to the school, Nicole was in 10th grade and I came in 8th grade. And the response that the head nun had when I got into this school was she called me into her office and had me sit down. And she said, Andrina, I've heard that you've gotten into the Ross school. Now, the Catholic school that I went to only went up to 8th grade. And so this was at the end of my 7th grade year. And she says, I heard that you got into the Ross school. And I just want you to know that girls who go to Ross will ride horses on the weekend and take trips to the Bahamas. And I know that your family can't afford to do those things for you. So I think you would be better served going to this local high school instead.
Wow.
And I'm like, ma'am, I will see you later.
Yeah.
And then went to this really progressive school in East Hampton where my family's social class did not determine the activities that I was able to participate in. There was a really robust scholarship program that did have diversity, but we were able to have 4 other girls from the reservation there as well. And each of them, after having had exposure to that school, are all doing wonderful. My friend Christina just got nominated for an Emmy. My friend Christine is a hairstylist who is always just killing it. And I mention this because going to that school gave us the opportunity to experience a world where powerful women are not told no.
Yeah.
That was something that can't really be expressed in words. The power of getting to experience that adjacent to a time in the world where girl power was everywhere.
Yeah.
It was before girl boss, there was girl power. And this idea that women can be empowered to choose their own life was something that was just very actively reinforced early on. I was able to see things that I would have never seen had I not been there. And it's so much about exposure and the rooms that you get, as the room where it happens, the rooms that you get to be escorted into. And I remember taking field trips and staying at Miss Ross's penthouse apartment on Park Avenue. Deepak Chopra, before he became problematic, would come and speak to us and lecture to us about spirituality.
Wow.
We had a resident monk, a Tibetan monk, who would come and teach us how to do sand mandalas. It was a really wonderful exposure to the world as a global citizen.
Yeah.
That was something that was really expressed to us. And I also got to interact with the 0.1%. People often talk about the 1%, but the reality is it is the 0.1% and the 0.01%. And I got to go to school with Billy Joel. Billy Joel was at every single one of my chorus concerts.
Oh my God.
His daughter and I were in chorus together.
Oh my gosh. My head just exploded.
Yeah, I see Christy Brinkley like, oh my gosh, you're Alexis' mom. Hi.
Now she's got like hundreds of thousands of followers on Instagram.
Yeah, literally. And so it was this normalization of a world that people who looked like me were typically excluded from.
Yeah, sure.
And because I was smart and articulate, I was often in the rooms where conversations about the development of this school and this idea of multiple intelligences guiding education, that idea took hold and really helped me understand who I am as a person and develop my perspective early on. When I was 15, we were protesting the Iraq War.
Yeah.
So a large group of us went down to the East Hampton windmill, and we were standing there with our signs, and we were like, no war for oil, no war for oil. And people honked and cheered, and I just looked around. And like I said, I was 15, and I'm like, oh, so this is all that's going to happen, and it's all going to go downhill from here. Okay. Well, if that's going to be the case, you might as well do what you love.
Yeah.
And so that's when I really leaned into theater. Like, if this is what's going to happen, then make sure that when the final curtain comes down, I have lived a life that makes my heart sing. From Ross, I got accepted into Emerson's musical theater program. And so it was a place that had so many dichotomies for me. Growing up, I was seen as sometimes too Black for my certain natives, not all, but like there were certain native groups when I would be at powwow, like I was the dark one. And then there were times like I would be around my Black friends and like I was the white one from my like white school. And then like I'd be around my white friends and like they accepted me, but they weren't giving me any, like street cred. And so it was just like very interesting processing of who I am. And I attended Emerson and I loved the theater program there. It was absolutely incredible. I did not love the musical theater program.
Okay.
Yeah, I did not know that I should have chosen a school that could support my voice more than what Emerson was able to offer.
Okay.
And there was a specific idea of what a successful Emerson musical theater person was, and I had not developed into that, nor had a person willing to help develop my voice.
What did that look like, Emerson's idea of a specific musical theater?
I mean, it was blonde-haired, blue-eyed mezzo-sopranos.
Ah, gotcha. Yeah, that tracks.
We had people coming in and performing ragtime, and they were the color of not the song. We would have people who were more on the pallid side singing these very deep Black roles, and it was just this experience of never really,
Problematic.
Just a little,
It's not a good look.
It was 2003. It was a different time.
I know, but even by 2003, it still wasn't good.
I mean, to be fair, even by 2020, there was still some problems with that program. Hasn't really ironed out.
We're working on it.
Yeah, we'll get to it. But the thing that Emerson did teach me, please interject at any time. I have a tendency to just start talking and keep talking.
No, go for it. That's why you're here. The listeners are tired of hearing me talk. They don't care about me. They want to hear from you.
One of the wonderful things about Emerson was learning that if I was not fitting the mold, go make a new mold.
Yeah. And Emerson was pretty decent about, like, there was that kind of entrepreneurial mindset of like,
Very so.
you can sort of forge your own destiny. Now, whether that actually turned out to be true for some of us after we graduate is a different matter. But I think Emerson did try to instill that.
Yeah. And it was a perfect evolution for the experience that I had in high school, because it similarly was like, well, what is your heart's desire? What is your path? And let's go towards that. Organizational skills, lacking. No, just gone.
That's not a major at Emerson.
Not an Emerson major, no. And it definitely wasn't at Ross. They're like, for this test, write a play about your feelings, you know?
Math, tax returns, scary. How icky.
Oh my gosh, I was so happy that I got a 600 on my SATs, because then I didn't have to take Emerson math. And like math is just like, no, why?
Yeah.
Why? And they were like, you're not going to have a calculator in your pocket when you get older, so you need to learn math. And it's like, joke's on you.
Yeah.
I do have a calculator.
Now we have like Chat GPT in our pockets.
And so after Emerson, I moved. I chose not to go to school in Manhattan, because I know that if I went to school in New York, I would just never leave New York.
Yeah, sure.
I graduated, and then I went back to my hometown.
Ah, okay.
And I was about 24, and my mother and I's relationship was not the most healed. As I get older, I recognize the wounds that she had been unable to process, and the ways in which those wounds impacted my life, as time and space and lots of therapy have helped me process as an adult. But as a child, and I consider 24 children, in Native culture, you're a child, 25 and under. We're like, yeah, you're still a kid.
Well, your frontal lobe doesn't come online until about 25, so that tracks biologically too.
Literally. I moved back to my hometown, and I was living with my mother, and I was working with my mother, and going to and from work with my mother, and it was not the healthiest place.
Sure.
I was drinking a lot. And I remember I was coming home from play rehearsal once, and I was drinking and driving. And
Oh, wow.
I had I said to myself, I was like, you know what? I'm kind of done. Like I'm kind of done. And so I closed my eyes and crashed into a house.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Oh, Andrina.
And so that caused, I wish I could say that helped heal some things, but it really wasn't acknowledged, the pain that had led me to that point.
Yeah.
And it was kind of just like, yeah, it's okay, you'll figure it out. And I realized that I could not live under my mother's roof any longer, because it was just not the healthiest.
Yeah, sure.
And so then I was like hostessing for some time, and then I moved to New York City. And this whole time I was always writing, because the experience that I had both in my formative years and during that time was something that was processed through writing. I couldn't understand the world around me, and so I used my theater and my poetry as an expression of what was happening internally.
Yeah, yeah.
And it saved me. It really allowed me to understand in a different way the struggles and the turmoil of what was happening. It was always easier for me to perform rather than express from a place of vulnerability, because those are things that are not necessarily guaranteed that a person is going to be able to express vulnerably, because sometimes the safety is not there.
Right. It's very risky to go to those places.
Yeah, but it wasn't risky for me to share it all on a stage. in front of 500 people.
Sure, because it's different. It's a different proscenium.
That was a really big time of understanding what my voice was and who I got to be as a person through writing. I also simultaneously found this incredible teacher who taught a style of voice where singing isn't about hitting the right notes, but conveying an accurate story.
Oh,
and
nice.
It transformed singing for me. It allowed me to return to this place where singing gets to be this organic expression of my story and not this thing that has to fit in a box so that it can be sold and resold and packaged and repackaged. The plan was to just keep doing theater. I knew that performing was always my North Star, but I didn't have a plan. And I remember I had this improv teacher at Emerson who told us, it's like, you have to just go out there and do it. And then things will start to happen. And here I am with my little notebook. And I'm like, when you say do it, can you give me a 5-point bullet list of what doing it entails?
Do what exactly?
Yeah, like do what? What are you saying, sir?
That's the education we got. Just do it.
Just do it. Just go out and commit.
And everything will just work.
It'll just work. The power of friendship. and so I just did it. And so for my late 20s, early 30s, that was just me developing craft. It was me understanding my voice. I wrote a show called The Dark Nights of Lady Day, where it was this kind of hybrid expression of my life and the adjacency to Billie Holiday's life. And
wow.
It was a really powerful experience. It was a sold out audience of like 300 people. They actually had to bring in more chairs, and it was
a
beautiful, wonderful point for me to know that this is the path that I'm on, that this is the path that I need to be focusing on. I got to go to two schools that allowed me to be delusional. And there is a level of delusion that you have to have with this.
Oh, sure.
Because it's not a path that is guaranteed. It's not a path that is easily paved.
Right.
Like sometimes it was my sheer will. Like, I don't know how it's going to happen, but like, this is what's happening.
It has to happen.
It has to happen.
Yeah.
So yeah, I did some UCB. I did some...
Now, hold on. I want to pause you really quickly because I want to make sure the listeners understand this. When you say I did some UCB, you're referring to the Upright Citizens Brigade, which is a very famous improv troupe. Dre Swain, who also went to Emerson, she's been on this podcast. She also went to Upright Citizens Brigade. Amy Poehler went to Upright Citizens Brigade from Saturday Night Live and a million movies and all that stuff. So I just want...
There were two other people who went to Emerson, and they had like this weird dance troupe. There were like these crazy dance fun girls.
Oh, I remember.
I can't remember their names, but then one of them was on Mr. Robot, and she was very cool.
But I just want our listeners to know before we glide past, I did some UCB. This is an extremely prestigious improv troupe, and so it's a big deal that you did that.
And I was there during the glory days. It was delightful. It was fun. But I do want to be clear. I trained there. I never did the audition thing.
It's still fancy.
It was still very fancy. It was a wonderful program. And the truth of the matter is, more people that I know through that program are successful in the industry now than people I went to school with.
Yeah, it's true.
Okay, and let me specify, because Emerson has a very big LA program.
Yes, they do.
And so there are a lot of people behind the scenes who went to Emerson. Emerson's actors and theaters do not have the same notoriety that our behind the scenes people do. There's some delightful Emerson actors out there. I'm not trying to take that away from them. I just did not know that Emerson had a backdoor to the industry.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I want to be on Broadway.
Emerson's like, well, maybe. I don't know.
I've always known my power in being able to impact live audiences.
Yes.
I fought for attention so much growing up. I know how to artfully hold attention in stage. I didn't know how to do that on camera. Like, I'm too big. I do too many of these things. I do too many little gestures, little weird idiosyncrasies that are great on stage, but do not translate to film. So I never had an
They would be great on The
interest.
Daily Show, though, in my opinion.
I'm just saying,
You would have been a fantastic Daily Show correspondent.
Mark, stop, you flatter me.
It's true, though.
Amazing.
If Lewis Black can do it, Andrina Smith can absolutely do it.
You know what? You hear that? If there are any Daily Show listeners out there.
And they really care what I think.
The smart ones do work. The smart ones do. I realized that theater would be limited to my audience, the people that I would be able to reach, the people who I would be able to bring joy to, the people who I'd be able to engage with, were limited to the number of audience members that were visible. And so I realized that if I wanted to have a wider reach, then I would need to get into TV.
Yeah,
and so
sure.
that became my focus of both my time at UCB, but then the Pit is where I was a part of a team and was able to really develop my comedic chops there as a sketch writer. I really learned to develop my comedic timing. I developed my voice and almost sold a show with the guy from Clarissa Explains It All.
Oh, now this is not the fellow who jogged past the reservation, is it?
No. So
Okay.
This was someone who I met, and I was like, oh, it's going to happen. This is not time. And then it didn't happen.
What was the show about that you almost sold to him?
It was a show about a young Black Native woman navigating the life between both worlds.
Oh, nice.
It was 2018, Mark. It was not that long ago.
Yeah.
And one of the execs that we pitched to, who was, and I have to say this, he was not a white person.
Yeah.
He literally was like, so what are you guys going to live in? What is she going to live in? What is she going to wear? And I only preface it with it not being a white person. Sorry, potential white people out here listening. I didn't want to alienate you. It's just those are statements that I've usually received from white people. I haven't really experienced that.
What does it mean? Like, what did he think she was going to live in?
Live in a teepee and just walk around in regalia and have moccasins.
I was really hoping that was not what you meant. Like, I was like, please
was she the Indian in the cupboard? Like, what you think? What you think was going to happen? What you think? It's 2018.
We're doing great.
Great.
We've made progress. Maybe.
Literally. And no one wanted, and then it was funny because then no one wanted it. No one wanted to touch it. And then the world shut down.
Yeah.
2020 happened. The world shut down. And surprisingly, that was like the best thing that could have happened for my career.
So the show that you just described that you almost sold, would that have been, because you said this is the guy that did Clarissa Explains It All, would this have been for like adults, or would it have maybe been for like teens or preteens, or because that sounds great. That's a great premise for a show, especially for that age group.
Yeah,
oh man,
we thought so too.
They missed
We thought so too, and alas,
I mean, it almost writes itself. I mean, you can see the TV show in your head.
You can literally see the sheep, and so again, it was just this time where reservation dogs hadn't come out yet. People still have very anachronistic ideas of what natives in TV got to be. And it was very much rooted in this colonial era.
Yeah.
Everyone walking around in regalia as they're just like day-to-day clothing. Just very, again, not connected to what reality actually was.
Yes.
And they just didn't have examples. I got into a series of residency programs. I did a watermill art residency program with this director who I used to study at Emerson. And then I got into a Native American residency program. Residency programs are really great when you are an artist and you need a deadline or you need a set like period of time to help you find focus or motivation. And when I was at this Native American residency program, we were in a meeting with ABC Studios.
Yeah.
And I was killing it, Mark. I was wowing and zowing and making people chuckle with their full belly. It was awesome. Then they asked me, what's next? And I answer honestly. Creator told me I was selling a TV show. The pin that dropped, that you could hear drop in that room, the discomfort on everyone's face, the discomfort that everyone felt by me saying that Creator said I was going to sell a TV show just caused me the deepest embarrassment. After I got off the meeting, I was speaking with the program head and I'm like, oh my God, why did I say that? That's so terribly embarrassing.
So did you say to them that you just had this sense from God, basically, that this was going to happen?
Yes. It was this overwhelming voice.
And these TV people are just like, what is she talking about? Is that what happened?
That is exactly what happened.
Got it.
So much so that I started doubting myself. I'm like, all right, well, the next message God tells you are keeping to yourself, ma'am. We are not announcing that on a Zoom. And so I finished that program. Here's where that message that Ken Cheeseman, my former improv teacher, told me of just doing the thing. Because I made a poem, and it was actually when I was still in college, that when I was like, I think it was like 2018 or 2019, I submitted to this magazine, Native Max magazine. So the poem was printed, and someone from the Facebook app reached out to me, and they told me, we want to do a segment on someone who is Black and Native. We have people who are Native and find out that they're Black, people who are Black and know they have Native ancestry, but no one who is walking this like path.
Yeah.
Before this piece, there was never really conversation about Black Natives. You were your tribe or you weren't really Native. There is a term Afro-Indigenous. I personally don't use the term Afro-Indigenous because we never ask natives who are white and Native to be Caucasian Indigenous or Asian Indigenous. And it's only this thing where Afro-Indigenous takes you out of the experience of being both from Turtle Island and having a connection to a specific nation, a specific tribal nation. And so I did this piece for the Facebook app, and it was supposed to get like 500, 600,000 views. And I was like, oh, that's sweet. I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to get some followers and a boost, and it'll be awesome. And it comes out, and it gets to like 3.5 million views.
Excellent.
And it was just like, wait, what? And it was actually like one of the most successful pieces that they did in that series.
Get it, Andrina?
And so, yeah, it was really fun. Again, it stemmed from me needing to express myself through this poem, and then me submitting this poem to this magazine, and then the person from the app finding me.
Yeah.
And so we did that. That blew up. And I was going back and forth between Southampton and Brooklyn, and my phone goes off again. I get a call from someone, and he's like, hey, I'm this producer. I'm a showrunner, and I was looking for the story of Shinnecock, and I pass it all the time, and I think this would be a great story. So, like, let's just meet up.
And he was jogging, right? Did I read that somewhere?
Yeah.
He was just like jogging by the reservations. Like, I wonder if there are writers that live here.
Literally, because he is from Vermont originally and very blue collar. And then he married a uptown girl. Her family
Speaking of Billy
is
Joel.
from Southampton. Had to bring him back. Family is from Southampton, and she is this incredible artist, so wonderful, but very different than his Vermont experience.
Yeah,
and so they would come out for the summer, and he would be jogging, and he'd be like, this is where the interesting part of the Hamptons is. This is the story that I want to say. And so reaches out to me, and we have a meeting, and it just goes really wonderfully.
That's amazing.
And he's like, I think we need like a celebrity name attached to it. I'm thinking of like reaching out to Kerry Washington. And I'm like, yeah, you should definitely reach out to Kerry Washington. I'm like,
yeah, she'd probably be good.
And so they send Kerry my piece, The Darker Red Road, and she loves it. And so we start developing, and about, I'm going to say, a year and a half from the time I told that Zoom room, that creator told me I was going to sell a show, I sold a TV show.
Yeah.
To ABC Studios. So it wasn't just I sold the show to the people.
Our listeners will remember we're the very people who you could hear the pin drop when you tried this the first time.
Yes, those very pin dropping people, the ABC Studios execs who were like, who is this?
So wild. That's
a year and a half.
But who
later.
would have thought that producer would just be like jogging by the reservation and just happen to think like, I wonder if there are writers that, just the sheer serendipity of your story is just mind-blowing.
Serendipity is a key word throughout all of this. And that serendipity has taught me that the only thing that you can control is showing up for yourself.
Yeah.
That's all you can do. If nothing you do in this world matters, and the only thing that matters is what you do, how you show up for you.
Yeah.
Not what you do as like a job orientation, but how you show up in existence creates the frequency that dictates how your life is going to go. And I just chose to continually show up for my story.
That's beautiful. I love that. So according to my extensive dossier of research, Andrina, this show that you sold, and you correct me if I'm wrong, this show was called East Coast Native, and it was about a Native American cook who works at her family-run business on the reservation, and then I believe crazy hijinks ensue.
Crazy hijinks.
But was this sort of semi-autobiographical, the premise of this show?
Oh, very much. I grew up with my mother cooking every year at Powwow. Powwow is a Native American gathering of nations. It originally started in the East Coast because the word powwow used to mean powwow, which was the kind of spiritual medicine man of the tribe.
Yeah.
And so through the years, that person became an event, and then that event spread throughout many different nations. And so my mom would both cook at our powwow and we traveled to powwows. So food was a really big form of expression in my family, both through our expression of Native culture and also through the expression of love.
Yeah.
It's like they might not tell you they love you, but they'll show you they love you with the plate of food they made. I was able to take it both from that and then my experience growing up working as a hostess at a high-end sushi restaurant in the Hamptons.
Okay.
Because once you work there, you can work anywhere. Because having to tell wealthy, hangry people they have to wait for something prepares you for anything in life. I want to take one quick side quest because this is one of my favorite stories when I was young working there. At the time, this restaurant, we didn't take reservations. But like for some super exclusive VIP, the manager would be like, I need you to save a table. And so that night, the manager's like, all right, we have a super VIP coming in. He tells me who the VIP is. And he's like, I need to have a table. And I'm like, okay, bet. Amazing. So, we're going through the list, going through the hostess night. And one of our regulars comes up and he's like, I don't have anything. Can I have a table? And I'm like, Chris, I don't have any tables. I just have this 3 top outdoors. It'll be uncomfortable for 4. He's like, forget it. We'll take it. And so they go sit down. 10 minutes later, he comes back to me. He's like, this table is too small. Chris, I told you the table was too small. He's like, well, I need another table. Chris, I'm not Jesus. I'm not a carpenter. I just can't make a table up here. Okay? I can't do anything. I don't know what you want me to do. I literally said that. And so he goes back to his table, sipping his lychee martini angrily.
But you told him what he said. It was fine. That's on Chris, not you.
Thank you, Mark.
Mm-hmm.
Then he comes back over. Now he's a little litty. And he's like, listen, I don't care if Kelly Ripa's sitting at this table. Give me this table. I'm like, first of all, Kelly Ripa's a national treasure. We are not going to insult Kelly Ripa.
No.
Secondly, which she actually is, she was really delightful in real life.
Yay.
He was like, I don't care if it's Kelly Ripa. I'm like, it's not Kelly Ripa. And he goes back to his table and he's just fuming. So then he comes over to me and he's like, Andrina, this better be a mother effing rock star coming for this table. And because God loves me, seconds later, this stretch SUV pulls up and out steps Sir Paul McCartney.
Oh my gosh! Oh no! Oh no!
And I looked at him, Mark. Creator did it on purpose so I can say, is that mother effing rock star enough for you?
Yeah, the rock star of all time. Oh my gosh.
And then anytime I saw Chris out that summer, he'd slip me a 50 and be like, this was my favorite story.
Wow. Wow. That's amazing. Oh my gosh.
So Creator's presence is always a part of my life story and my life journey. And this idea that I know that if I am truthful to the path that resonates my heart with the most joy, that is the path. So we sold the show and they say never meet your heroes. And I say that's true unless your hero is Kerry Washington.
Oh.
She is one of the most radiant lights. Olivia Pope wishes she could be Kerry Washington.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Just radiates joy and light and humility.
Good.
After working with her, I just wake up and eat a bite of humble pie because the groundedness that she has is just beautiful. The Simpson Street team, everyone there is amazing. Everyone there is awesome. And so after this, I'm waiting. We're like, what's happening? We're in limbo land. And so the person who reached out to me for the Facebook app thing was like, hey, my, well, it's now her ex-boyfriend, but she's like, my boyfriend is working on a project. He is going to be the 50th anniversary of the March on Washington for Jobs.
Oh, I know where this is going. This is incredible.
So we would love for you to have just an interview. Now, this was being done with Time Studios. They were looking for big names and big people.
Skywalker Sound was involved with this too, I think.
Yeah, they're great over here. Wonderful.
I'm a Star Wars nerd.
Literally. Oh my God, Sully, amazing team. And so I'm like, oh my gosh, this sounds amazing. So I get on the phone with one of the producers.
Now, hold on. We should pause because I want the listeners to understand. And don't let me get ahead of you here, Andrina. But
No.
this was a VR experience, like you said, commemorating the 50th anniversary of Martin Luther King's March on Washington. And it was called MLK, Now is the Time.
Yeah.
And it reframed the March on Washington beyond just the famous I Have a Dream speech that we all know.
Yes.
But it was very immersive. It sort of encapsulated the experience of housing discrimination and being pulled over by the police. I want the listeners to appreciate what this was.
At this time, all I knew is that some people wanted to make a video game about Martin Luther King.
Okay. Okay.
That's all I knew.
Okay.
I didn't know anything about VR at that point.
Okay.
I was just like, okay, well, y'all aren't going to embarrass Martin Luther King on my watch.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like
So
Martin Luther King Call of Duty.
no, but like literally having people do the little like dance on the
It could have gone wrong. There's so many different ways.
It could have gone so wrong.
It could have gone wrong.
In fact, they had done an earlier version that wasn't that well received.
Uh-oh.
I hadn't seen it. It was just, some of those questionable things, they happened.
Okay.
And so I'm all protective over MLK.
As we should be.
As we should be. And so I speak to this producer, and he is so deadpanned, and he is so tired, and he hears me talking, and he's like, yeah, okay, you should definitely say that in a meeting, and kind of cutting me off and a little bit rude. And I don't like it when people cut me off or are dismissive of me and tell me what I should do. I'm a Virgo. And so I take everything that he says, and I'm like, oh, he thinks that's the best I have to offer? He thinks that's the best I have to offer, which is a very weird take. Now I'm playing it back. It is a strange take, but
I'll show him.
Yeah, that was literally what it is. I was like, you weren't even really listening to me. I have even better. So I had this meeting with the whole team, and the things that he told me to say, I made sure I said them last. I didn't even. I was like, you know what? I'm going to be so sparkly.
Love this so much.
And they're like, okay, well, this is wonderful. So nice to meet you. We'll let you know by like the end of the weekend, but like what's happening. I'm like, all right, great, cool. We hang up the phone. They call me back 2 hours later and I get the job.
Awesome.
They're like, and so what this piece
and he's probably sitting there thinking, it's because she said my ideas at the end there. That's
literally,
what
definitely. It's funny because now he and I are very good friends.
Oh, good.
What this piece really focused on was the inequalities in housing, voting, and policing that were present during the time that speech was had and how they're still relevant today.
Yes.
So we did it through understanding redlining in a board game. So you're playing a Monopoly game where the game is rigged. And so you're playing as a black pawn, and then there's a white pawn that's playing. And so you roll the dice and you have a highway that comes through your neighborhood.
Yeah.
Or you roll the dice and redlining prevents you from owning a house in your town.
Yeah.
And so the neighborhood does not get property taxes. And so you see the way that this has this dominoes effect on a community. And there's something about VR that makes it such an immersive experience that you're able to understand it in an almost first-hand person way, instead of me just saying, this is what happened with housing and how Black people, no matter how much money they had, could not buy houses outside of redline districts.
Yeah.
And even then weren't allowed to purchase. And so it gives you this tangible understanding that was really helpful for both that and then understanding police brutality. The director wanted to do a scene where you are driving in a car and you experience getting pulled over.
Yeah.
And the experience is as if you were a person of color. But I didn't want it to be some like race porn where you're like, oh, I get to race trauma porn, not race porn. Yeah. Excuse me, race trauma porn.
That's a different thing.
Not here to judge your kink, No, but like race trauma porn where you get to try on a black skin. And so we centered it around you get pulled over and you hear the speech that your father tells you, how you have to be safe around cops and what you need to do. The speech that Black parents have to tell their Black children to be safe. And it was super funny because I remember I was in between this. I was doing another smaller residency, and my friend Adam Woolley, who also went to Emerson, he was a director and blonde-haired, blue-eyed guy. We're driving up to upstate New York, we get past a divide where there's a cop. And there's no other way for me to describe it, but he peers into my soul. The cop, he's in a divider. I'm in the passenger seat. Funnily enough, Adam and I were having a conversation about how Adam had never gotten pulled over by the police before. Never really gotten pulled over by the police. And I tell Adam, I'm like, oh, Adam, we're getting pulled over. He's like, what? No, why would we get pulled over? That's crazy. I'm like, all right. So we're driving. Next thing I know, we get pulled over. And so I am sitting in the passenger seat. So I'm here to not say anything.
Mm-hmm.
Adam rolls down the window, and the switch in expression that the officer had when he saw that a white male was driving was so tangible. I had never known that cops could just be that nice to people they didn't know before. Now, I say this because I grew up in a small town where my mom knows the whole police office. My mom gets the police department to sponsor Juneteenth in her town. My mom is the mayor of the town. So, there are cops who are like, your niece's daughter, that's different. That's small town.
Yeah.
But, just random cops being just kind, totally new to me. And so he rolls down the window and is just so jovial with Adam. And he's like, oh, I was just pulling you over because, I wanted to let you know that your tint was too dark. And Adam's like, oh, should I take it off now? He's like, no, but, just be mindful of where you're going because it's a pretty dark tint. And some states don't let you have a tint that dark. And I'm over here just looking out the right of the window. There's a brook that I'm real fascinated in. I'm like, I'm going to let the wind come right in because this is not my rodeo. And I just remember this very, very succinct feeling where I'm like, oh, well, if that's how white interactions get to be with cops, I understand why they think we're crazy.
Yeah.
If it's just this pleasant-ass time pulls you over and he was like, well, just be prepared and just send you on the merry way. Of course. It's like, well, thank you, officer. Thank you for your help. I didn't know.
Thank you for helping me today. In fact, officer, you've made my day better now that I've been pulled over.
Really? I'm a little wiser. Thanks. Thank you. No problem, brother. Let's go along. So I wanted that experience to be inverted.
Yeah.
And we were successful in that. I remember we went down to South by Southwest with this project. And I just remember seeing people use it and come out just tears, just streaming down their face.
Because VR is immersive in a way that a film isn't going to be, or a podcast isn't going to be. It's that you are in it.
You are in it. And so being able to give someone an experience at that time in the world, because 3 years later, I don't know how we've gotten to where we are, but but
we're making progress.
We're making runny diarrhea. That's what we're making.
I couldn't even finish that in a jokey way.
So, but this piece, I wanted it to be one where if you were a person of color, you can watch this and have your experiences validated.
Yeah.
And if you are not a person of color, you can understand how your lived experience and your perspective of the world is very different.
Yes.
Than what other people get to experience. We won the South by Southwest Audience Award with that. We won a Game for Change Award. Both are sitting over there. And then we got a Emmy nomination.
Yes.
So
yes, you did.
It got a lot of wonderful, wonderful accolades that just made me really happy.
A bunch of Webby Awards, too.
Yeah, we got some Webbies,
according to my dossier of research, the Public Service and Activism People's Voice Award, Best in XR by Games for Change, a Producers Guild Award in 2024. Yeah. I mean, this was
It got some good things. It was really nice. And I think we did MLK proud. And so then from that, we worked on developing the show. Austin and I had to part ways on this project, though Austin and I are still very close and actually developing another project together now. And the project with Simpson Street, we're still trying to figure out the details of it, but they're still so supportive and so wonderful. And so after the Simpson Street and MLK project, Austin's like, yo, you should submit for the Disney program. And I'm like, okay. And so I submitted and I got it.
Now, is this, when you say the Disney program, is this
the Disney Writers Fellowship Program, which is a program that Disney has done for about the last 50 years to bring marginalized voices, names to the forefront and give them opportunity to either be on Disney branded television or Hulu or FX. Those are the umbrella places that they set. So I have friends from this program who are like on The Rookie, someone who's on Shifting Gears, just a really wide array of voices. It was June. I was living in Sherman Oaks at a friend's house, and we needed to find a place. I had a 3-bedroom apartment in Brooklyn, 15 minutes from Prospect Park for $25.50. The only reason we left that is because I got an opportunity that was better than what I had.
Deli Boys, this is a series on Hulu. It's a comedy series, and the second season just dropped. Is that right?
Yeah, and it's like 98% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Can you tell us about it?
Yeah, so Deli Boys is a show where 2 pampered, privileged Pakistani American boys have to take over their father's deli, which turns out to be, boom, 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 a hidden drug empire. And so you have these 2 ragtag boys with their fierce, badass auntie running their father's drug empire. And the creator of the show, he went to the Gina Davis Film Institute for like a lecture. And so
this is Abdullah Saeed? That's the creator?
Abdullah Saeed, exactly. He goes to this Gina Davis like thing about women in film. Like she has an institute to focus on enhancing women in film. And she's speaking and she's like, listen, if you have a script and you have a character where you can make it a female, make it a female.
Mm-hmm.
And so he looks at his character, and originally his father's right hand was an uncle. And after that, he was like, let's make her an auntie. And now,
nice.
And we have Purna, who is just a beast every time she opens her mouth. Then we had Fred Armisen, one of the kindest, most hilarious people. We had Tan from Queer Eye for the Straight Guy.
Yeah.
And we just had a really beautifully grounded group of brown actors being represented in a way that we rarely get to see the Muslim experience represented.
And an incredible pool of talent, too. I mean, just
so wonderful. And the writer's room was a gem, literally. I had people who was in the SNL writer's room for 8 years. Someone was on American Housewife, BoJack Horseman, Always Sunny in Philadelphia, just really top-tier people.
Brilliant.
Michelle Nader, who is one of the most badass showrunners. She grew up and survived being hot in the 90s in the writer's room.
Oh.
That is like girl nom.
Oh, gosh.
Okay?
Yep.
So, like, she is top of her game. Jenny Connor from Girls. And it was just this experience that came from me just never saying no to this dream. Knowing that my end goal was going to be my end goal. I don't know what the journey was going to be like, but I knew where I was going. And always having that as my North Star with this unrelenting clarity was what made this happen. If you have it and you know that that's what you're meant to do, it doesn't matter how long it takes to get there.
Yeah.
There's going to be some sacrifices. I was pretty poor for a pretty long time. Like, there are a lot of adventures I didn't go on because I had committed to this path. But I knew that that was my heart song, and I wasn't going to be satisfied until I was singing its tune, you know?
Yeah. Andrina, this is something about your artistry and your career that I've always admired you have enjoyed this like mainstream success in your career, but you've also maintained the integrity of your mission. And it's kind of rare that artists can sort of perfectly balance both of those things. And I feel like you have, at least from my perception.
I really appreciate that. It certainly, again, it came with its highs and it came with its lows. There were certainly moments of struggle on this path, but then in hindsight, you see that the struggle was an important part of the journey. And I just get to feel so grateful that I get to express myself and perspective and have that perspective translate into something that can make people laugh. I really love being able to make people laugh and then, here's the medicine.
Yeah.
You know, I think that there is so much heaviness in this world, but there's also a lot of light.
Yeah.
And because we're so inundated with so much darkness, it can be easy to forget how pervasive the light is. And so in the moments that I just choose to remember to stand in the light, life opens up and acts accordingly. And if it hasn't gotten there yet, that just means the ride's not over, you know?
So where do you hope the ride may be going next? Do you have hopes and dreams of what you hope this journey will continue to accomplish?
That's a really great question because when I was young, I was a doomsday prepper. And so part of me is just like, how long is this still going to last for?
We were talking to Alf Mike. That's a very millennial quality.
The CPTSD is real. But I want to find new ways to exercise my writing. I want to find new ways to express my voice. I don't have an idea of what I want the journey to be.
Yeah, sure.
I have an idea of how I want the journey to feel. I want it to feel authentic. The work isn't always going to be fulfilling and satisfying. It's not always going to be the project that lights your heart on fire, but always knowing how you want to live your life and always knowing what the integrity of that North Star is the most important thing for me because I want to be, we're crossing our fingers for a season 3.
Yeah.
And I'm just really confident in that happening, but also confident in the fact that when I release these fears that tell me what I can and can't be and allow myself to be present in the moment, then what is meant for me will find me. I never knew I was going to do a VR about Martin Luther King. You don't know when you start this journey where it's going to end. But what you do get to decide is how you want to show up for it.
Amen.
Yeah.
Amen, sister.
Yeah. Thank you. And I equally have been so proud and impressed of the integrity that you've lived your life and continue to live your life and the light that you hold and the safe space you get to create for people in a world that consistently robs us of safe spaces. This is such important work that you do, Mark, and it is an honor to call you friend.
Oh, Andrina. Oh,
true.
Well, yeah. I feel the same. Thank you. I appreciate that. That's very kind.
Yeah.
Andrina Smith is an Emmy-nominated writer, comedian, and storyteller. She's the writer and creator of MLK and Now is the Time, an immersive VR experience, which is available on MetaQuest 2 and Up, MetaQuest TV, and Meta Horizon Worlds. The second season of Deli Boys is currently available for streaming on Hulu. And she is a wonderful, wonderful human being. Andrina, it is so wonderful to get to talk to you. Thank you so much for joining us and sharing your story.
Tabute, Mark. Thank you. This has been beautiful.
That's going to just about wrap it up for this edition of Don't Encourage This. My thanks again to Andrina Wekontash Smith for joining us on the program. If you'd like to hear more conversations like this one, you can check us out on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, Player FM, and of course, we're on the YouTubes. If you'd like to get in touch, you can send us a nice message at don'tencouragethis@gmail.com or a not-so-nice message. Whatever your preference. I'm not going to tell you how to feel. From Oxford, Ohio, I'm Mark Van Bullock. Thanks again, y'all.